So let's try this again. Hi, it's me again. Haven't really talked in a while, but a lot's been happening on my side. But I've kind of decided that it's time to tell you a story. So I'm going to tell you a story. It must have taken place maybe 2, 3 years after we first moved to Oregon. In the beginning, things were really good. We were too young to realize much. But we spent every summer camping, moving from campground to campground, campground. And no matter where we moved, we went to the same schools. And so, like, that town became my home. First home I'd really ever had. And that town was Cave Junction. And it saved my life. I really believe. And now I'm on my way home. I decided a couple of months ago things weren't good at all and decided I'm going home. I'm tired of waiting to go home. And this is for some other changes to go on in my life. That's not what I want to talk to you about today. I wanted to tell you about Sebastopol. At one point, this was early, maybe 10 years old, 9 years old, somewhere in there. My mom was dating this man named Fred Slippy. And he had some kids, and they were my brother's age. But we got to go stay in this old mining town from a long way back when for an entire summer. There was the old shop, which is where my mom and her boyfriend stayed, and I stayed. And it was like a little kitchen and like a little house kind of thing with an apartment upstairs kind of thing, or a room anyway. The plumbing was all out on the front porch, a shower, the toilet, the whole bit, and there was a curtain. Eventually, that the men put up, and that we could pull a curtain around when we used the bathroom. There was an old saloon, and that's where all the boys stayed. Well, a couple of the boys. There was an old stable. There was an old orchard, and it was still irrigated. The men who owned it, I think it was the Smart family. He had a water reservoir, and it watered the trees, and it gave us water for the houses and stuff. And there was no electricity, but we were used to that. And it was one of the best places we ever lived. Whatever my mom would do during the day, the kids got to do whatever we wanted as long as we didn't bother them. We'd spend all day exploring the mountains, and we would go gold panning. We'd go down the river, for miles till we go to the spot where we would pan for gold. I hope that wasn't a mouse coming down right there. Bowser! Come here, come check. Over here. Check. Smell anything? Let me know if you smell anything. He's looking for mice now. It was wonderful. We got Ugly, which is our childhood dog. And they named her Ugly. The boys thought it would help them get girls, because boys always think everything will help them get girls, and that's what drives them. So her name was Ugly. I guess right after we got her, one time Fred was coming outside to go to the bathroom in the morning, and Ugly, she was really smart even as a puppy, and she was pooping right outside the doggy door, like right there on the mat. And he goes, "Oh, that's Ugly to see in the morning," and that's kind of how she got her name. She was a wonderful dog, an amazing dog. Million stories about her. She was pretty incredible. But Sebastopol, go pick fruit right off the tree, and then just go wander. I had this kitten I got adopted while we were up there, and the day we found her, we went gold panning that evening, and the kitten followed us, and we had to cross the Illinois River, or whatever river it was, like multiple times, jumping rocks and rapids and stuff to get to where we would pan, like way over here, or two rivers came together. But the kitten followed us. She followed us the whole damn way. And after that, she went with us every single time. And we found a half an ounce of gold that day. So the kitten was named Half Ounce, and she was a blue Persian. And I worried about her food, because when we would go to this place, we'd be there all day. We wouldn't go home until the evening. So we'd bring our lunch. And so I felt bad. So after that, the next day, every time we went down there, I'd take the kitten out about half an hour before, half ounce, and we would hunt lizards and grasshoppers and whatever else. And I'd hold her a certain way. And then eventually, like, we trained each other to do it, but it wasn't intentional. And then she would make a move and she'd like stiffen up, and I'd set her down and she'd go catch something, a lizard, or like I said, a tiny mouse, or just something that was out in the wilderness of Southern Oregon back in the day, and little bugs. And I had a jar, and I'd put all the bugs in the jar and the lizards and whatnot. And then we would go gulpining, and when it was lunchtime, I actually would pull them out and feed it to her. She was a trip. She was a really cool cat. Eventually, she got hit by a car right before she had her first litter of kittens. She was pregnant for the first time. It's sad. As a kid, it must have been like 10 or so, I actually thought she might have been pregnant by my mom's chihuahua, because it kept trying to mate with her when she went into heat. It was hilarious. And so I was for sure that that cat was going to have the first cat dogs. And it was way before the cartoon cat dog came out. Of course, that wouldn't have been true, but she was about to have babies for the first time. She was a blue Persian, so she was like this bluish gray color, smushed face, and big gold colored eyes. She was gorgeous. She was pretty cool. But living up there gave our family the idea we would love to live somewhere where we can be self-sustaining. We wanted a piece of land where everybody gets their own little nook corner. And I know it's a dream for a lot of families, but it's really been a big dream in ours, especially for me and Freddie. And Haas even. It's the fantasy of Sebastopol. Everybody has their own space, and we can take care of each other and not have to rely on society so much. Because when we live there, we'd only go to town like once a month. Of course, I have a lot of health issues. I'm 43 years old. There's no way I could live like that now. And I understand that. So the dream has changed. I want to open up a shop, or build a shop, or something. I think with what I have, or even in Oregon, they have these open fair markets every weekend. I can just sell my stuff there, and we can get Freddie's stuff, and we can sell our stuff together. And maybe instead of having a land that can support the family, we can have a shop. And the shop can support the family. And we can leave it to the kids when we're gone. And they can have options and opportunities. I would like to do that, or get land that I can use as an income source by renting it out for use and stuff in Oregon. So that's the dream, the plan, and everything. There's this mountain range in this little old commune off out of K Junction. There's a little area called Takelma, and not everybody knows about it. Everybody in the area does. It's kind of where a lot of the hippies from the 60s and 70s went to retire. And that way of life is kind of continued there in a lot of ways. Good, and in a lot of ways bad. I remember as a kid, we'd be swimming, all the kids, at the water hole, and we'd be wearing swimming clothes or shorts and shirts or whatever, and a bunch of adults would come and just free range it and get in the water with us. And we'd like, okay, it's time to go. So there might have been a little too much hippiness in there, but there's a sense of community in that place that doesn't exist here. And it didn't exist in Missouri. And it kind of existed in Iowa. It was a small little town, and those people were amazing. But it doesn't exist here. It kind of exists in Whale-Dell to a micro. But I want to live in a place where the community cares just as much about the place. I want to live somewhere where if you're parked on the side of the road for whatever reason, people stop and make sure you're okay. And that happened in Oregon when I was there last. There was an old house I lived in where a lot of bad things happened. And I was parked outside of it, and I was praying, and I was trying to let go of the old trauma. and stuff. And next thing you know, this random person's knocking on my window because he saw me park there and wanted to make sure I was okay when she was driving by. Another time I was driving down the road headed to my brother's house, and there were cars backed up on a 2-lane road going back both ways, multiple cars in each lane, and all these people out of their cars chasing these 2 little doggies that got out of their yard and were running on the road, and none of them wanted to risk anything happening. So they all stopped. Instead of driving past and just hoping all's well or doing what they do here and speeding up and swerving at them, all of these people didn't care where they were going, didn't care about their appointments or how long it was going to take. They all stopped, got out of their vehicles, and tried to help these dogs. And they tried to help me. And that's what I want. I want to live there, where I can spend most of my time outside, because that's my preferred place to be. Where I can go out in the rivers and go fishing, and I can see my family. I want to spend the last of my days there, whether I live another 5 years or I live another 30. It seems crazy, but I've built it up to be this magical place. I was trying to tell you about Takelma. There's a mountain range there, and it resembles a woman lying on her back with her knees up, with her hands across her stomach, and her chin's up a little high. And I used to walk that path in Takelma to that church and up and down that road. I must have done it for years and years and years and years, looking at that mountain range and talking to her. I told Lady Takelma everything that was happening. She was my witness to it all. And after I left, I lost that. And I missed that. And both times I went up there recently, it was overcast and cloudy and I couldn't see her. Oh, but I miss her so much. It's one of the first things I'm going to do. The next time I'm up there and it's clear skies, I'm going to drive up there and I'm going to see Miss Takelma. My lady mountain. Mountain lady. My mountain home. No matter how things got at home, and things got pretty bad, the land was there. It was always an escape I could go to. Walking up and down the rivers, walking up and down the canals, walking on the paths, not even walking on a path, just wandering and trying to imagine how many times, how long ago was it that a person stood in this place that I barely got to? I just wander and wander and wander. I did for years. And I saw some incredibly beautiful things out there. We used to count waterfalls and all the drives. I'm going home. And I'm so happy, and I can't wait to see her. It's stupid, but I went through hell when I lived there with my parent, my mom, and her choice of men. But the land was always there. The rivers were always there waiting to comfort me, to take me to another world, to show me something miraculous. Show me something beautiful. Something as simple as a mushroom or moss growing on a tree. The periwinkles in the water. The freshwater springs. Fresh water in general. My God, I've lived so many places that doesn't have water. I want to go home in a way that I could never express, but I've waited too long, I fear. I waited too long to make the right decision. God, I hope it's the right decision. Because I'm losing something by going up there. And I don't know how to live without what I'm going to lose. Going up there isn't the price of the loss. It's more like the consolation prize. But I want to go see Lady Takela, and I want to tell her what happened. God, I feel like such a failure. Tried so hard. I have put my own needs aside for a very, very long time. And I begged, pleaded for just that much. But it was too much. So I choose. Do I keep the life I'm hating in the place that I hate? Or do I try to go home and find some peace at last? And try to build a future for my kids? So that's the path that I choose. Oh, but it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet beyond words. It's not like having the cake and eating it too. It's more like you're diabetic, but the only thing to eat is cheesecake. You love cheesecake, and you want it, and it tastes good. But every bite you take, it slowly kills you. And kills you. And kills you. And even though you know every bite you take is doing this, you don't have any other options. There's nothing else available. So you eat it. Well, I'm not going to eat it no more. If there's nothing else available, I'm going to go somewhere where there's other things available. But God, I'm going to miss the cheesecake. You know? Such a weird predicament. I just want to go home. I didn't want to blow my wife up. It's crazy. This is the first time I've cried really in 2 weeks. And before that, I cried every day. Well, since the decision was made probably about a month ago. But the fight was a couple weeks ago. And before that, I cried every day. Sometimes multiple times a day. And I had to hide it from everybody all the time. Wasn't that good at it, but I tried. But now I'm at the point. It's bittersweet. But now there's hope. And I haven't allowed myself to feel hope in a long time. She's kind of a cunt. Hope. Life feels great with it. But it's so terrible when you don't have it anymore. It's probably like what people that take heroin feel like. I feel like hope is a drug. It has been for me in a lot of ways. But I can't stay here with all the cheesecake anymore, or I'm gonna die. And I don't want that. And I know my kids can't have that. They don't need it, but they can't have it. God, I hope I'm making the right decision. I really, really do. I hope they'll forgive me someday. My boys. It's supposed to be a better tale than that, but I did want to tell you there was the Sebastopol. And when we lived there, nothing happened. That was bad. I got a vision stuck in my knee. Came out with a funny story. None of my Sebastopol memories are bad. They're all good. That's where we found the Mad game. Mad magazine, we were first introduced it there, and we actually found a board game, a Mad board game in that thing. Created a lot of family fun. I want to create a place like Sebastopol for my kids. A place where no bad memories linger. At least where only good memories are. That's the legacy that I want to pass on. That life doesn't have to be all bad. And I hope I get a chance to do it. I just hope I make it home. My shoulder's been messing up a lot. Barely use my arm half the time. The pain when I do the massage therapy is just so atrocious. It's like having an arrow going through my body and somebody's just banging it with a mallet, you know? And it goes through my arm, through all the way to there in my lung, and I can't breathe and everything hurts. The only thing that really helps is this. This. Oh, I'm so mad that this is what helps. You have no idea how best I am. Gosh. I never wanted drugs around my kids. But you should see my prescription box. Oh my God, it's so full. There's so many pills. And I'm messing them up. I can't remember when I'm missing stuff or when I'm not. And it's become a hell. But this helps. Since I started smoking, I haven't been getting shingles outbreaks. I'm watching my shingles. This helps with the stress. And the pain. If I can keep my pain tolerance below, let's say, a 6, then I can usually keep the shingles manageable. If I can keep my stress down, the stress is a harder one. I can go to bed stressed and wake up with full-blown shingles. I mean, it doesn't need days. But this, I get stressed out. Yeah, I kind of do smoke myself into oblivion sometimes. I was doing it more so before I decided to not have the cheesecake anymore. And now I don't need as much. Sometimes, like today, I'm more emotional, sad. But I can allow myself to feel a certain amount of emotions. I can use this to keep the anxiety out. The desire to start shaking and tapping is really strong. But I can allow myself to feel the emotions without being overcome by them, without them taking over my physical ability to not lose control, like have a panic attack or anxiety or anything like that. So I don't get outbreaks via that. So the only outbreaks I've been getting are the heat outbreaks when it's just too hot. And I get overheated and then I start to break out. And it always starts as a heat rash first. And then if I can't get that to go away in a day or two, then it can turn into the shingles. But for the most part, I get a couple breaks out. But I usually get it to fade before it develops. So I haven't actually had shingles, I think, in like a year. Possibly. And those things, oh God, let me tell you, that is some hell right there. Oh, it hurts. And it's always in places where the skin touches the skin, like the armpit, or under my belly fat or something. Or under my boobs, or where my boobs press together, and it's just, I can't even shave my armpits because of it, because I get outbreaks if I do. I just burnt my damn finger. Yeah. I've been trying at this place, the Blue House, I've been trying really hard to make it my Sebastopol. But I can go without watering my lawn for 2 days and already start to see it dying. We can't afford it right now. We're Bakersfield's again in a drought because LA is stealing all the water, and it's just going to get worse. Surprised they allow people to have swimming pools. It's ridiculous. I'm ready to get out of this place. So, Grants Pass. Hiya. You don't know me yet, but I'm coming. I'm on my way, honey. And you ain't never gonna be the same. I'm coming home. There's a couple of songs that I feel towards this place, and one of them is I gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do, we gotta get out of this place. Do a better life for me and you. And then there's my favorite by Sir Thomas Esquire. I'm all out of fucks to give. Gone to the fucking store and they were fucking depleted.